Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a brand new soul path reading. Happy April, everyone. Okay, so I just uploaded a personal share. I ended up going for a hike this morning. I got out of bed, woke up, and if I'm not able to go outside, I have a grounding mat that really helps when I'm doing readings and a lot of readings at once. During the day, it really helps me ground my energy, and then I'll either go outside or I'll take the dog for a walk or I'll go for a hike or I'll go by the water. But I really felt like I needed that to start my day. And so I felt called to go to the water. I felt called to go for a hike, for a walk. And so I did that. And it was a really beautiful experience where I was just with my thoughts, I was with myself, I was with God. I share that experience, a little bit of that experience, here on the channel. I'll put a link to that in the description box. But I wanted to do kind of like a follow-up soul path reading because I feel like there's more that's coming through from that experience. What was interesting is I paused for a moment and I was sitting on a log that was kind of blocking the path. And the log, I wish I had taken a video or a picture of it. It had really beautiful, I'm going to call it inscriptions. Now, it's not any, it's just, it was a natural markings on the wood. It wasn't like, there were some trees where people had, carved their names and initials and stuff further down. And I always, whenever I'm on this particular trail, I always make sure that I pause and I touch that tree because, I don't know, I just feel called to, like I'm giving love to that tree. Because I feel like when people are carving names into trees, it's almost like they're sometimes they're expressing love, but sometimes I feel like they're expressing pain. And I don't know, it just feels appropriate. I always touch that tree and give it some extra love. I don't know why, I just do. Anyway, this particular log had some like markings on it. And it wasn't, again, it wasn't like man-made. It was beautiful, but it wasn't man-made. It was just like however it was made when the tree had fallen. So I'm sitting on this tree, and there's a tree to my left, and all of a sudden, like I'm hearing things. And now, throughout this journey, I've really understood and learned that everything has a consciousness. I would channel plant consciousness for my friend a couple of years ago. Everything in this world, in this universe, has a consciousness. So it's not wildly out there. It's not like out of the realm of possibility for me to experience what I experienced, but it was almost like it was visceral. It was almost like I was viscerally hearing, and not hearing anything like words or anything like that, but like viscerally hearing movement, viscerally hearing, and feeling the energy of it too. Now, it could have been an animal in the tree, but I was feeling the energy of this just spirit all around, and it was really moving me. So it was really wild and beautiful experience, and it's very humbling because even as many years as I've been, doing this and in tune with it, I should say, as many years as I've been in tune with myself and in tune with the world around me and energy, um, and all that stuff, it's become so integrated and natural now, that it's almost like I don't really think twice about things anymore. Like if dragons come in, or if I'm speaking with ascended masters, or I have experiences that look like miracles or that look like magic. I don't ever want to lose that sense of wonder. I don't ever want to lose that sense of oh my gosh. But it's been so like embodied now and so integrated that sometimes, when things like this happen, that I've experienced certain things, it's like, okay, that's pretty wild. That's pretty cool. It's pretty righteous. Um, you know, yeah, it's pretty. This world is pretty magical. It's pretty magical. Um, that being said, they're reminding me of, before we get into the reading, they reminded me of a soul saying that we had done, and I don't know when it was, but I saw it on my Facebook memories today. So it was somewhere. Oh, last year. It was April 3rd of last year. Oh my gosh, it was last year, exactly last year. Okay. So it's this. I used to do these soul sayings, and I still do these every once in a while. If you guys have seen these on my Instagram or Facebook or here on my YouTube channel, I have most of these up on my website too. It's a quote by Roald Dahl. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it, is what he said. Roald Dahl was a children's book author who really wrote about the fantastic. He wrote about phenomena. He wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He wrote James and the Giant Peach. He wrote Big Friendly Giant. I think he wrote that too. Just all these like beautiful children's stories, but have that has this like hint of magic and fantastic to it. So he knows what he's talking about. He definitely knows what he's talking about. And through our ascension, our awakening, we experience what we think is phenomena. And like I said, I really anchored in and integrated and embodied a lot of the phenomena. But when I was first becoming really aware of this journey, it was like, on this journey, I should say, it was like, well, wait a minute, what is this? What's happening? It was very like exciting. It was very thrilling. And the more you go along your journey, the more you realize that it's only exciting because we cut ourselves off from it. It's only so exciting. I mean, it's exciting nonetheless. But it only feels so fantastic because we separate ourselves from it. You know, when we cut ourselves off from communicating with God, from communicating with nature, even from communicating with others, you know, I'm reminded that, telepathy, everybody's capable of telepathy. Everybody's capable of, intuitive energy healing and readings. Everybody's capable of it. It's just being in tune with yourself. It's just having that discernment. It's just putting it into practice. Telepathy is possible. It's just having that intimate connection with someone. Telepathy is really just emotions, connecting emotionally with somebody, connecting deeply with somebody. And all this stuff that we think of as phenomena, what if it was just natural? What if it was just organic? What if we just believed otherwise because we separated ourselves from it, because we divided ourselves in some way? Anyway, so I was thinking about this quote. I was reading this quote I was reading my memories, looking at my memories on Facebook this morning, and I'm reminded of it now. I'm being called back to it now because as I'm walking through the woods, I'm always awestruck as I'm looking through the woods, as I'm walking through the woods, as I'm looking at my surroundings, at what's been created, at nature's miracle, at the universe's miracle, which is everything that surrounds us. And I'm reminded that you can have very different lenses depending on what you're experiencing in life, depending on where you are in your journey, depending on whether you're feeling pain or whether you're feeling love. It's all about perspective. It's all about perception. And we have the choice to change our perception at any given moment. I know when I was very sick, I shared this a little bit in the video, I was terrified of going outside. I used to love the woods when I was a kid. I was playing out there all the time. We have a stretch of woods in my parents' neighborhood that growing up we called the Enchanted Forest. I don't know where that name came about, but that's what my neighborhood friends and I had called it. And I remember we had forts. We would climb over, little mounds of dirt everywhere. We would pick daffodils. I remember picking daffodils for my grandparents. It was just a magical, magical place. It was an enchanted place. And then when I got sick, I was terrified even to go in the backyard because I had Lyme disease, and Lyme disease comes from ticks, and ticks are in nature. And I was terrified of the very thing that I loved so much. And it wasn't until my ascension journey, it wasn't until I met my catalyst, my ex, I will still call him my twin, whatever that means anymore. I'm not quite sure. I'm still trying to figure out that part of my journey. Or not try to figure out, but just let it unfold. But the person who was the catalyst for my ascension journey, it's like he led me back to the woods. He led me back to a part of myself that I had neglected, that I had been so afraid of. He led me back to the woods, and I remember the very first day when we ended up going to the woods. We ended up going to this very like nature filled place. I was afraid, and I just let him lead. I just followed him, and because I trusted him so much. Um, and it ended up being okay. And ever since then, I allowed myself to walk in the woods, still being very aware, still using proper precautions because I've been through my experience and I'm not willing to go through that again, and I don't want anybody to go through that again. So, proper hiking etiquette, proper hiking precautions, take care of yourself, be prepared. But I realized too that you can be prepared, but you don't have to be filled with so much fear that it cuts you off from a part of yourself, and it cuts you off from a part of God, which is nature, which is the world. And I could look at it, I can keep looking at it, spend my life looking at it through that lens of fear. I can look at the world as a threat. I can look at nature as a threat. I can look at other people as a threat. Or I can just look through that lens of love, look through that lens of compassion, and overcome any fear. Again, I had to take my own time. Sometimes you have to take your own time and hold that space for yourself, and you know what your limits are. You know what you're capable of. Don't let anybody direct you away from that. Little by little, you can find your way into a new perspective. Little by little, you can find yourself in the so-called woods again, but not ambling aimlessly through the woods, directionless through the woods, but knowing the path that you're on, knowing that you're being directed, knowing that you're being guided. That's all a metaphor, by the way. That's all a metaphor. All right, so I want to share this. So I saw a meme this morning that read, "Logic does not create magic." And it reminded me of this Roald Dahl quote and had me thinking of the magic I've experienced in my own life. When we think of magic, it's easy for our minds to go to the fantasy-like worlds of X-Men superpowers. But magic goes beyond that, even beyond the ethereal unicorns and fairies and dragons that we connect with energetically. What I'm speaking of is the magic of the heart, when we feel the beauty and awe of the world. Magic is in everyday moments that fill you up with love and wonder and gratitude. Magic is the strangers appearing out of nowhere when you're alone and trying to navigate your way through a month in a foreign country. Magic speaks with a gap-toothed smile and sings along to Bruce Springsteen, walks a dog in an empty airport, and hands you a sandwich when you're hungry. True story. Magic is an email pinging you with an answer to your prayer when your heart is failing and your mind is decaying and you're finding it hard to stay. Magic answers the phone with two simple phrases: "I understand" and "We'll get you well again." True story. Magic is a 10-month-old hound dog housed in a cage who looks at you with big brown eyes and connects with your soul, who romps in dried mud and howls in joy and nuzzles your arms. Magic is 14 years of loyal love and paw prints embedded in your heart. True story. I'm getting emotional because that's my Riley. Magic is family moments and friendship, laughter, and dear true love memories written on the soul. Magic is everywhere if we open our minds, allow ourselves to defy logic and reason, and embrace what only our hearts can see. What made you believe in magic? I have experienced magic so much in my life when I look back. In moments that I didn't even think of as magical at the time, like that time I was in France and I was trying to find a ride up the mountain to the inn I was staying at, and a kind gentleman with that gap-toothed smile led me over to the line of taxi cabs from the train station and introduced me to the cab driver, who then proceeded to drive me up the mountain, and we listened to Bruce Springsteen the whole way. Or the woman in the airport who saw that I was so upset after my flights were delayed and I was alone and I'd spent a month in France and I was ready to go home. And she was pushing a cleaning cart, and all of a sudden she pulled out a plastic a sandwich wrapped in plastic, one of those plastic vending machine sandwiches, and she gave it to me, and I said in French, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yes." "From my heart," the man at the train station said. "From my heart," the cab driver said. "From my heart," the woman pushing that cleaning cart said. And magic exists in miracles. The miracle that saved my very life. The doctor who answered my call. Magic exists in a little beagle basset hound who has saved my life in every single way, and who passed away a couple of years ago, but who still remains with me still. Magic exists in every moment if we allow ourselves to see it, if we open our eyes to it, if we don't deny it, if we don't fight it, if we don't try to avoid it, if we stop looking through the eyes of division and anger and pain, and allow ourselves to transmute all of that back into oneness and love. It's all about perception. That's not to deny anything that you experience, or it's not to deny anything that you're feeling. Allow yourself to work through those feelings. It's only when we suppress it that it becomes poison. It's when we allow ourselves to engage with ourselves, to become intimate with our emotions, to understand ourselves, connect deeply with ourselves, that we allow ourselves to shift. And through that shift, that's where the magic happens. And the more we see the magic within ourselves, the more we can see the magic in the world, and vice versa. The more we see the magic within the world, the more we're able to see the magic within ourselves, because we are part of the world. And that's where separation is the illusion. That's where unity reigns. We are part of the world. It's all interconnected. So I brought out my Gaia Oracle deck because I wanted to see if there were any other messages that wanted to come through. Just do a little bit of a reading to see any other messages that wanted to come through based on today and what was experienced. It was a very moving experience. Not all hikes are created equal. I've gone on many, many hikes. Even just the past couple of weeks, I've been going back down to the river. I've been going on hiking trails. I've been going for walks at parks. I've just been spending time outside as the weather is getting warmer. And sometimes it's, just a little moment of peace. Sometimes I bring a book to read or something to work on. Sometimes I bring my dog. Sometimes it is just a moment of grounding that I need, a moment of gratitude. And sometimes it is moments like today where I just feel so moved and in love, really, with the world around me. This world is beautiful. Please don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I know there's so much chaos and there's so much disturbance, is the word that I'm getting. There's so much that can bring about pain and suffering and strife. But also don't forget the love. Don't forget the love. It's not to deny anything of what is being experienced here and now, but don't forget the love. God is bigger than we ever can believe. Don't forget the love. Let's see. This is absolutely perfect. I'm going to use this one too. We have harmony. And that's just the word, harmony. I'm actually going to put that aside because you're calling me to, but it's just the word harmony, the harmonization of all things. And that's what this feels like. It says the marriage of spirit and matter. We have the hidden path. We have Gaia, Mother Earth, and we have intuitive communication. And this is kind of like what we were saying when it comes to telepathy. Telepathy is intuitive. And the more that you connect with yourself and the more that intimate connection you have with others, the more the energetic connection builds and is formed. The more that you allow yourself to trust in your own intuition, the more you can have that intuitive communication with others. And those of you who are on the sacred union path of ascension, that you've experienced your journey with a counterpart, you've experienced this. But understand too that you're experiencing this as that partner has been a catalyst to show you that you experience this with everything around you. And that's where we say we commune with God, we commune with nature, we commune with others, because it's all about the energy. The energy really is everything. It's tuning into the energy. And what I like about this spirit of a marriage of spirit and matter is what we learn on this ascension journey, especially those who are on the sacred union path with a partner, is that it is all about the balance between the two. It is all about the alchemical marriage, the energetic marriage between the two, the divine masculine energy and the divine feminine energy as one. And that's where you understand inner union as one, and you have both energies within you. You might experience more of a core feminine or a core masculine energy that feels most resonant with you, that feels most at home with you. You're not meant to be in either one or the other all the time, but you have one that really feels more natural to you. But you have both energies within you because that's what makes you you. That union is what makes you that wholeness within yourself. We've seen from the beginning of our channeling the yin yang symbol. It's two parts create the one whole. It's two parts to one whole. And so with the masculine energy, that is more logical, that is more rational, that is more using that thinking, that the mind, you need that as well. You need that practicality. That's beautiful. The mind is a really beautiful thing. It's a very powerful thing. But you also balance that out with the feminine energy of intuition and energy and tuning into that energy and the emotions. You balance it out. And so that's where you listen to your heart space. That's where you trust in your intuition. That's where you honor the emotions. Your emotions are a guidepost. And I'm getting called to share what I had channeled a couple of days ago. I usually just make notes for myself when I'm channeling certain things. Your emotions are a communication system, is what I had channeled. Your emotions are part of your intuition that are telling you information, or that are telling you bits and pieces, telling you insight, telling you wisdom, sharing wisdom. It's not to create a story around those emotions. It's not to attach to those emotions. It's to use those discernment, and especially when you are in balance with yourself, you're not flooded with your emotions, or I should say your emotions don't overwhelm you. That's where you have the balance of the masculine and the feminine energies. We talk about this a lot. The feminine energy is like that, the waterfall. The masculine energy is that container, the structure, so that she doesn't flood. The masculine energy holds that space for the feminine. The masculine energy is that presence, is that leader, is that authority. Now, it's not about control. It is not about being powerful over somebody. It's your inner power. And with the masculine energy, whether this is your inner masculine, whether this is within a relationship, or whether this is within the global collective, and we can see it playing out within the global collective, as you're experiencing this perhaps in a sacred partnership, you also see this play out on the world stage within the collective energy. What happens is the masculine honors the feminine. The masculine cherishes the feminine. The masculine holds space for the feminine. But doing so in a place of directness, doing so in a place of leadership, doing so in a place of decisiveness, presence, structure. Structure does not mean inflexibility. It does not mean an inability to adapt. That's where the masculine's inner feminine is balanced. The feminine is all about flow. So the masculine understands flow, but also understands discipline and structure and presence. So it's a beautiful harmonization between the two. We see it play out in nature as a whole. I'm just getting reminded of how I was right by the water, and then you had the woods, you had the trees, and how there's this beautiful harmonization happening there, the feminine and masculine energy happening there as well. Um, so really allowing yourself to tune into the heart space, and your mind is what allows that discernment for what is it that I'm feeling, what is it that I'm trying to communicate or that's trying to communicate with me. Where is my soul trying to guide me? Where is God guiding me? We might not always know where we're being led, and that's where a certain level of faith comes in. If we're speaking about masculine and feminine energies, feminine is very intuitively connected to the higher realms, where she really sees a bigger picture. She can see a broad expanse of how everything is interconnected, how things are playing out. She can see almost like a bird's eye view. That's her gift. Sometimes it's a curse, but that's really her gift. And the masculine energy is the one that grounds that and creates from that in physical form. That's the marriage of spirit and matter. And we might not always understand how it's all playing out. We might get bits and pieces of that picture, but that's where we surrender to God as bigger than us. We're connected to God, but God has the whole picture, the whole universal picture. That's where we have that faith in higher power. It's all part of the oneness. It's all part of the universal interconnectedness. And Mother Gaia, Earth, is, I'm hearing, part of that healing as well. I just, over on my community tab, reposted or shared a channeling from 2019. It's really remarkable to me to see the difference in my channeling and the depth that we have now, the understanding of these concepts that we were just beginning to channel then and understand then, and just the difference in energy. It's really beautiful and remarkable to see how far we've come on our own ascension journey. But what I had channeled back then in the daily energy draws, which are still archived here on the channel, that are timeless, so you can feel free at any time to go back through those. But we had channeled back then a phrase called "the earth is in pain." The earth is in pain. I'm getting an energy of transmutation that's happening now. And I feel like back then it was the beginning of this transmutation cycle. As you know, the following year we would go through this pandemic. We would go through a lot of struggle. We would go through a lot of strife. And I feel like it was almost like a cycle. What I'm seeing now is like a cycle started where the earth itself was helping humans, working in tandem with humans to transmute a lot of these energies. It was almost like a cycle was beginning. I'm getting this energy of there's a lot of healing that's taking place on a, number one, a cellular level within us as humans, human beings, but also within the very fabric of the earth itself. Now, I'm also hearing that the earth is always healing itself. It has that ability to always heal itself. But this is happening on a very different level. This is happening on a very, on a deeper level now. As we're healing, the earth is healing. Because the earth helps us to transmute these negative energies. When I say negative energies, I mean heavy, dense energies like fear and pain and anger and frustration and grief. As humans, we have these experiences and we have these emotions. So again, it's not to deny or bypass these emotions, but it's to allow ourselves to transmute that and to work with the earth. To work with the earth. The earth is helping us to transmute that. And because everything is interconnected, as we are healing ourselves as humans, as we are making that conscious choice to shift patterns and to heal and to shift our perspective into more magic and into more love and into more conscious understanding and awareness, The earth itself is healing on a very energetic, vibrational level. Because again, it's all energy and it's all interconnected. I'm being reminded, as above, so below. But it's more than that. It's as within you. I'm hearing the earth say, as am I. As within you, as am I. And that's part of this intuitive communication. It's that communion with the earth. It's just so funny because I had such a visceral experience today. I'm like, I feel like the trees are talking to me, and of course they do, because everything is consciousness again. But it was such a visceral experience, and usually the experiences that I have are all intuitive. I'm a very feeling person. I'm a very sensory person. My gifts are more claircognizant and clairsentient. I'll have visions as well. I have clairvoyance as well, and sometimes I've even picked up on clairaudience. But it's mostly very intuitive. It's feeling, and I translate the feelings. And if I'm getting the channeling wrong, or if I'm getting I'm articulating it incorrectly, that's when spirit comes in and they're like, keep going, or they'll redirect me. I don't know how to explain what I do, but you guys will probably experience it in your own way. Everybody experiences it in their own way, but the way that it happens for me is it's felt. The energy is felt, and it's not so much I actually hear somebody, it's that, or I hear God, it's that I'm feeling the energy of it, and the energy has a vibration, the energy has a pulse, the energy has its own communication, intuitive communication. And it's like, that's what the earth does as well. That's what the earth does as well. And so it was interesting for me today because it felt very visceral. Like I was actually like sensing things and hearing things and experiencing things within the body sense, not just intuitively. It's a very warm and loving energy that's coming through. I just feel like keep honoring your path, keep walking your path, keep trusting your path, and also don't forget to see the magic that's on your path. Don't get so focused on your path that you neglect the wonder that's around you, the wonder that the universe has brought into your life, the gifts that the universe has brought into your life. Don't get so focused on one direction that you fail to see the beauty and the love that is already around you, that is surrounding you, the gifts that are there. And allow yourself to trust. Allow yourself to trust. All right, we're going to end this here. I'm sending you all so much love and so much light.